Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today. I'm Leslie Flowers, and this is an experience in learning Think and Grow Rich. And so as you come into the room, I will sing you a song from the 50s to take us closer back to when Think and Grow Rich was written and what life was like at that time. So come on into the room. We are live. And let me hear from all of you. So excited. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. When I grew up and fell in love, I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will we have rainbows day after day? Here's what my sweetheart said. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera. Good morning, everyone. I am so excited that you're here. I'm Leslie Flowers, and I've got a really fun presentation to do over the next 45 minutes. So first I want to, I'm going to play the promotion as you come into the room, and then I'm going to take a moment to say hello to each of you. Okay, so let's see if I can do this properly. Let's see. So this is new. Oh, it looks different. And I wanted to create a show for you. Some sort of a start and end, not so unlike a composition. And totally expect the unexpected. There is no doubt that what will happen with you during this 45 minutes is things will surprise you. Things maybe that you already knew about, but you had forgotten, or you're hearing them in a slightly different way. So let me begin by saying hello to each of you. I am so thrilled today. I know many of you can attend because it is a holiday, right? Happy 4th of July to United States citizens. And let's just see who's here. Oh, so excited that you are the first one here. I hope you're having a good rest, Nicole, especially since you just launched a #1 international best-selling anthology. I think it was #1. The last I saw it was #2, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say congratulations for being a bestseller and bringing 16 people across the finish line to be published authors and share their story. And I'm so thrilled. Thank you, Charles. So it's 10 o'clock at night in Hong Kong. And I'm very happy to see Charles here. Charles and I have done similar work. Well, let's just put it this way. He was a trainer when I was a trainee some 25 years ago in transformational concepts and application into figuring out why we do what we do and to really get inside of it. And I intend to invite Charles on my Mind Over Matter Monday show to talk about his approach to understanding our mind and our behaviors. So I'm very excited to be here and got to be at 1 a.m. Eastern Thursday morning on a panel he was conducting from around the world on executive coaching in Hong Kong. Thank you for inviting me. There's darling Adrian, who is here every week and is right up to date on everything we're doing. Adrian, if I don't tell you enough, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. Whenever I see Adrian has reposted, I go, be still my heart, right? So it's just wonderful. And there's Harvey Tuck. Hi, Harvey. I'm so glad you're here, and thank you for your kind words. And Harvey will also be joining me on one Monday because he has used the principles of success. He's been attending these for a year and a half, I don't know, maybe 2 years, pretty much every Friday, and applying it. And he's all involved in the franchise industry. So I'm really curious, and I bet you will be too, to figure out, well, how did he use this to reach his goals around his business in franchising? Does it really matter? And then he's invited me Tuesday at 12:15. I will be talking with him and his audience about having a goal around franchising, whether you want to buy a franchise or you want to sell it, or is it different than other businesses, or is there something unique about franchising and goal achievement? So we'll dig into that. Thank you for inviting me, Harvey. And there's Linda Meyer, who is a chef. I believe her specialty is Italian cuisine from her background. And Linda, thank you for being here. There are so many things you could be doing today, and you're here. And we know we only have 45 minutes, and I've talked into 7 minutes already. So bear with me. This is your show. This is for you. I do this for you. I'm so glad you like that song. My mother used to walk around the house, and I will tell you, this came out when I was 10. So you can know that when my mother went around singing it, I've been singing it for quite a while, right? Thank you, Adrian. And there's Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. Happy Independence Day to you. Tracy is involved in audio and business, has a brand new business show coming out Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. Forgive me, Tracy, that I've forgotten the name of it, but it's really exciting. It looks like she's bringing in all sorts of business executives, which I love. And we also have Erin Gibson calling in from Calgary in Canada. And Erin is the dream maker with his video and visioneering and his heart and soul and his ability to be an empath and really know what's going on inside our hearts almost before we know it. He's able to take your dream, if you're clear about it, and we talked about that last week, definite purpose. If you're clear about it, Aaron will help you translate it into music, lyrics, songs, and astounding visuals. He made my dream come true that I've been visualizing for a long time last summer when my science fiction bestseller came out, #1 bestseller in science fiction and fantasy and literature and fiction, a bunch of other categories. But he created a trailer based on that book and let me be the star. So thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for all your support and being here. And thank you, Harvey. Yes, thank you. We're all in deep gratitude for many reasons today. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. It was my very first promo. Okay. And I have to tell you that Nicole is the one who kind of walked me through how to do it and sent me a Zoom video. So that was really cool. Yeah. So glad to see you. And we have Sharon Rose Winfield. You must follow this lady. She is absolutely amazing, revealing her deep insights into how the mind works and how the way we feel really impacts our results and our lifestyle. And thank you, Erin, for that. Yes, that was the name of the book that went international bestseller on Tuesday, July 1st. Thank you for that. I want to get through these. I want to get some new people. Let me just see. Also, thank you, Charles. And oh, yeah, I had to set the alarm for midnight, guys. I've done that 2 weeks in a row. But when you're semi-retired and you sleep whenever you want or wake whenever you want, it's really not that hard. And there's Mark, a new friend calling in from India, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Christy Williams, superior customer service professional, but not only in business. She is everyone's customer service representative, and she's been a long time supporting. And I just love when she reposts my shows because it warms my heart. All right, let me see what else. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm kind of neglectful there. All right, so let's just see. I want to make sure I got everybody here. No one new has come in. Oh, Loes is here from the Netherlands. So thrilled that you're here. You need to get to know Loes. She's kind of reminds me of Meryl Cass in a way, the female side, because she will bring you into everything, anywhere that's going on. She's like a social media butterfly. Forgive me for saying that, Loes, but I love it. She lets me know everything that's going on all the time. Yes, thank you. The voice of business. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Oh, that's 9 p.m. Eastern time. I know it's 8 p.m. Central, but I live on Eastern time. So, all right. And we have a new person here. Rachel, so glad you're here, calling in from Nigeria. And finally, before we jump into this with 12 minutes in, Erin is snug with coffee. And that's good. Grab some coffee and let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. Okay. I've spent a couple of hours really looking into how to meld together the saga, the stories, the music, and also something new. And let me show you what that is. Yes. So for those of us in the United States, happy birthday. For me, it's a little tearful, but I'm also so grateful that I've lived my whole life in this country that has made so many things available. And I stood for so many of those. And now it's time for my children and grandchildren to do their standing, right? All right, here's what we're going to do today. Oh, well, look at how this jumped around. Anyway, today's our agenda. So the song was 𝗙𝗓𝗄 by Doris Day in 1956. Today I'm going to read you an excerpt from Desire, the starting point of all achievement. And the lessons will come from that excerpt. And then we'll do a visualization, which is focused on your retaining and staying focused on this material as kind of like the dessert. So it kind of locks in what we've learned today. So be listening for things that you've heard before, but you may not know where, or it may not sound exactly right. Understand that this is one way to live a life of wealth, health, and happiness, my friends. This is one way. There isn't only one way. But the cool part about this is that Napoleon Hill, in this book, mine's falling apart right now because I first got it in early 2008 and have read it every week for 17 years. And it has lots of little stickies, as you know. And what it's done for me is it's kept me really young, and I've achieved my goals. In fact, I will tell you that the dream that I was able to translate to our friend Aaron last summer, as I was we were preparing, I was preparing to launch this book. And I'd seen some of his clever video work before. So my dream was that he would create this video where I got to be the character. And the picture I sent him was me at 17. So if you watch this 7.5-minute trailer, you're going to see this absolutely incredibly lovely young woman who didn't know that she was pretty back then, whose self-image didn't allow for her real beauty to show at all. She was just as insecure about herself as many of us are. But now that trailer has me starring in the movie, or the trailer, and it is my story. And it's the story over 25 years of love and loss, virtues, values, and soul-kissing love. So let's begin. What are we doing on time? Ooh, okay. We're good. Okay. So today is desire, the starting point of all achievement. And before I read the excerpt, I want to go over a few things that we did last week with the introduction. Now, the introduction is not one of the 13 principles of success. It is, however, required to follow the linear process of turning the dreams you have and the desires you have from an idea, which is thought energy, into physical form, which is manifestation or alchemy or Merlin's magic. You know, just because we don't understand yet how things work doesn't mean they're not working. So my job is to make sure that you get clear. So if something's confusing to you, don't worry about it. Wait for the next thing, because you'll find in a couple of weeks that repetition is how we learn. And we're not all ready at the same moment for everything to be clear. So give yourself grace and take a few notes. Be listening for things that feel right to you and that you've heard before, because that builds your resources, your ability to think in an agile way, to select different views and perceptions, and to, as much as possible, outweigh our natural fears, which always show up first. They're always first to bat when you get a new idea, when I get a new idea. Oh, Leslie, you failed at that. And a big part of this is the ability to understand your fears and punch them out. But you have to do that by creating faith in your ability and deservability. So now I can look back and say, she was lovely. Excuse me, but she didn't know it then. Okay. In the introduction, one of the stories was about, and I've got to go back to give you that, and I didn't talk about that. I talked about Henry Ford last week. Excuse me. And Henry Ford was not an engineer, but over a period of a year, he pushed his engineers to create an 8-cylinder engine in one block. And they told him that that was not possible. Okay, his engineers came back several times and said it's not possible. Okay, but he kept sending them back. And ultimately, they came up with it. And what Henry Ford knew was that all ideas are already here. It just takes someone to go for them. So he visualized it. If you get an idea and you visualize it, he saw in his mind's eye an 8-cylinder engine, and he had a lot of reasons for it. But now I want to pick up another story in the introduction really briefly, because this is the excerpt of what happens next to Edwin Barnes. Now, this story is in the introduction. There were several to have you understand what is definite purpose. None of this matters if you can't get clear about what you want and why you want it. It's got to be something you've never done before, but you're compelled to do. You are so compelled that your natural fear is butted out. Only one thought remains in your conscious mind at a time. And we know that repetitively thinking the same thing actually lowers our cellular vibration and our attitude, and we stub our toe and we're not very happy. That's all based on our fears that we've earned, right? They are badges. We have failed and we have been afraid, but we can build faith in the opposite, because on the other side of fear is faith, but only one prevails. And right now, for most of us, the 6 basic fears stop us from doing anything, right? Oh, I can't do that. You get a wild idea? I can't do that. So it takes something special. And that's what this book is all about. It's amazing. Where can we see this video? I'll tell you what, I'll post it and pin it. Okay. It's in my videos, but it's kind of buried. I will tell you that a lot of times, sometimes, there's an interruption in the goal, and there's been an interruption in my flow for Orator 2. Doesn't matter why, but it's not ready. But I will show it to you. I will. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so from the introduction, here's what I want to bring forward into desire. This is the deep desire, the seed of visualization, of manifestation, the thing that is so powerful that it out-talks your former conversation, right? Which says, bad idea, let someone else stick their neck out. So in the introduction, there's a gentleman, Edwin Barnes, who was a poor fellow. And he had a dream, an idea. He wanted more than anything to meet Thomas Edison, go to work for him, and be his partner. It was pretty lofty, because this was 100 years ago. And Edison was the foremost inventor of our time. This guy had 2 things against him. 1, he didn't know Edison. And number 2, he had no money to get to East Orange, New Jersey. Excuse me, it was a hair bothering me. Anyway, but his desire outweighed those 2 things. Now think about this. That's poverty, the fear of poverty. I just don't have the money. And it's also the fear of judgment or criticism. Well, this guy doesn't want to see me. I don't even know him. What if he slams the door in my face? So you see, most people would have given up right then. But his desire to go into business with Edison was so strong that, you know what he did? He jumped a freight car, which they called blind baggage, and went anyway. Now, we don't know if his wife didn't say in the background, if you leave and don't come back, right? We have no idea what the outside conditions and circumstances were that could have stopped him, in addition to the fact that he had no money and didn't know Edison. But anyway, he did it and showed up on Edison's doorstep. Now, Edison, when the door opened, Edison tells everybody later that he did look like a tramp. He'd been riding blind baggage. He probably smelled, right? I mean, we don't know, and unshaven, unkempt. But the way Edison explained it, he told people, there was something in the way he looked at me in his eyes. And Edison recognized through his own intuition how deep the desire was, and he brought him in. And so that is where we pick up with today's excerpt. And I'm going to read a few minutes to you, and then I'm going to share and be listening for the lessons here, the pivotal things that only 2 or 3 people out of 100 ever do. Why? The reason is first of all, there's missing information. You'd be surprised how much the universe has created in God for us that you don't know about yet. A lot of times we worry about stuff such as, why is there an interruption in creating Erato 2? But I know why. I'm not ready to write it. There was a big interruption in my life, and that's one way as co-creators God or the universe can let us know, not quite yet. Look, it took 25 years to write the first one. So I had planned on doing it 6 months later. But then the universe very often comes in and interrupts things. And we think, oh, wow, I'm not getting to do this. But you must understand that our God, universe, source of energy, let's say, agree on that there's one bundle of omnipresent energy and love. Now, as co-creators, consider that our intuition is where the universe lives. And there's a whisper that comes that isn't as loud as the fears. So we're developing our intuition. And I'm going to teach you how to develop your imagination through visualization. Because visualization is joyous and it zips up your cellular vibration. And that vibration is how you communicate with the universe about what you want. So if you're feeling lousy, and you're thinking about lousy things, you feel lousy, the universe will say, God will say, okay, well, let me give you some more lousy. So you'll learn this process. It's so much fun. It really is. Okay, here we go. Doing good. Okay. So listen carefully. Listen for what resonates. Anything confusing, forget it. Okay, just forget it. You'll hear it again, and then it'll make sense to you. Out of confusion comes order if you sit with it. Okay, here we go. Desire, chapter 1, the starting point of all achievement, the first step to riches. Now remember, it has to be after you have a super clear, compelling, nearly obsessive focus on something you want to bring into the world that will have an impact on other people, and you too, but it's always deeply in service. Our biggest gifts are in service. So it really isn't about selfishness. We will get, for sure, but that's not what compels us. What compels us is service. It makes us the most happy. Let me just say that. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from that freight train in Orange, New Jersey, he may have resembled a tramp, but his thoughts were those of a king. As he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the one consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. Barnes's desire was not hope. It was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating desire that transcended everything else. It was definite. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes's dominating desire for a long time. In the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, it may have been and probably was only a wish, but it was no mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. A few years later, Edwin C. Barnes again stood before Edison in the same office where he first met the inventor. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. He was in business with Edison. The dominating dream of his life had become a reality. People who later knew Barnes envied him because of the break life had yielded him, the so-called break, right? They saw him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything backed of that goal. He did not become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start at the most menial work as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his cherished goal. 5 years passed before the chance he had been seeking made its appearance. So a little break here. So for 5 years, he sat there, right, as a clerk before this opportunity came. Think about what was he doing during those 5 years to keep this goal alive. That's just a little aside there for you. During all those years, not one ray of hope, not one promise of the attainment of his desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared to be only another cog in the Edison business wheel, but in his own mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time from the very day he first went to work there. So, there are a number of lessons here. Drop them in the comments. What did you hear that distinguished him based on his definite purpose from everybody else? What did he do that no one else really does? He sat there for 5 years, but you've done that too. We've all had goals and dreams, and years go by, and all of a sudden, boom. You know, maybe it's to go to college, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's getting a car, maybe it's falling in love. It doesn't matter. We think 5 years is a long time, but do you know what he did as he sat there for 5 years? Now, I will tell you when the 5 years was up, what happened was Edison had built or created the Epiphone, which was the precursor to the dictaphone. You know that, right? And his very successful sales team all turned their nose up at it. They thought it was a bad idea. And that is when Barnes approached Edison. He said, I can sell this because the salesmen aren't interested, but I know I can sell it. So this was the second approach, letting Edison know this is what he's there for. And he stayed there all this time. Okay, so here's an answer. What was he doing that the most of us don't do? Here's Sharon Rose. Absolutely. Undying commitment, burning desire. It was top of mind every day. Now, did he think about it all day, every day? No, he did not. Not at all. Let me just see. I see someone slipped in here. My beautiful Chorito. Hello, Chorito. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, darling. And Eric, so glad. New friend, Eric Dobby. Hey, Hartford, Connecticut. I love that. Imagination is the universe. Zips up vibration. Well, that's what happened. And there's my beautiful Chorito. Gosh, this is late for you. It's 10:30 at night in the Philippines. Thank you, darling, for being here. Wow, I know it's late for you. Yes, our fears do freeze us in place, but we're not really frozen in place. There is no status quo or stuckness. I want you to realize or consider that we're either growing in awareness of our infinite potential, or this freezing is slipping back into the old fear. So we're always moving in one direction or the other. That's the law of vibration. But your point is well taken, right? The confused mind takes no action. So when we're frozen in place, we do nothing. And there is the most wonderful, fabulous wall of wealth, woman wealth, Leah Garcia, who I am so joyous to see her because it's early. She's out on the West Coast. So any of you who are west of us, I appreciate you. I know that. And we got people that it's late into the night too. All right. So Sharon Rose said, undying commitment. And here is Leanna. Hi, Leanna. So glad that you're here. Leanna works around diabetes and I haven't gone too deeply with her, but she's an amazing supporter. And thank you, Leanna, for being here. All right, let's see what Chirito says. During those years, he was growing his wings to fly someday to where he knows he is meant to be. As usual, my beautiful friend, that's absolutely true. How did he know? Because we're co-creators, because God lives inside us. He speaks to us through our intuition. That's how. The universe will often hold us back until we're ready. And what actually happened with Barnes, Edison said yes. Barnes turned into a multi-millionaire, but here was the thing. On every Ediphone was inscribed, manufactured by Edison, installed by Barnes. So that is what can happen and what is so important about desire. What did he do as he sat in the lab or the office as a desk clerk? Who knows what action he took every day for a few minutes, or not, just a few minutes. He actually couldn't do the work. He couldn't make the dream come true, but he did do something that I will wrap this up with today. So let's see what it is that he did. Let me see what my darling, there's Dr. Marcia. Hi, Dr. Marcia. So glad you're here. Sometimes the universe holds us back. Exactly. Because the universe is about love. And you can say that you're supposed to enjoy these things when you reach them. But if you're not ready to, there's a lot of anxiety. For example, people want to win the lottery, right? But they have no clue how to manage that kind of money. So it's a freaking nightmare, isn't it? You've heard about people jumping out of windows and people coming out of the woodwork wanting money. So the idea here is the universe is love and wants you to enjoy and live a life of wealth, health, and happiness. So you have to be ready. You have to have invested the amount of time and work. So you've done it before, Barnes, 5 years. There were other stories. My book took 23 years. But that's another story. I'm not doing that. Okay, so let me just see what, Dr. Marcia, by the way, has a wonderful 8 a.m. Eastern show live on LinkedIn every Tuesday morning. Please be there. It's fabulous. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, and that's right out of Think and Grow Rich. Now, understand that I have read this book almost 90 times every single week for 17 years. And you might wonder, well, why? Really, Leslie? There's a difference between reading and study. And because I fell in love with this work, I now pretty much live it. Do I still have moments where things don't work well? Sure. But I give myself the grace. Part of the reason is that I have a very close-knit circle of friends who hold me accountable, very small, like 4 people. But then there's the next ring of people. You're all part of this. And you're welcome, Dr. Marcia. The most wonderful thing you could do for me is to share this event every week and what you're getting out of it. Because you notice I don't sell here. I'm done selling. I'm finished selling, right? So my job here is to give you what I know. And I've put in 20,000 hours. I have 12 books and have taught this over 65 business quarters in my own hybrid program. So share it with your friends. Now, not everybody's ready for this, but you are. But that would make me very happy. Okay. So next on the agenda here, we've got the lessons. We have a few things. Yes, Yes, well, I was certified in 2008 with Proctor, and in 2009 went back to Florida to sit on the stage and talk about social media. That's I actually knew more than most people, but now I know almost nothing. Thank you, Dr. Marcia. I would love that. Okay, excellent. Determination, even when our goals aren't. Yes, but don't give up because you may be ready. Don't say, okay, well, that's the universe. Now that you know that this could be part of the plan, you don't want to give up right away, because there's another wonderful story in the introduction, 3 Feet from Gold, about the guy who was 3 feet from the gold vein picking up again, and he gave up. So there's even a book, 3 Feet from Gold, that was written out of Think and Grow Rich. So don't use that as a reason to give up on your goal. Just understand that in rare situations, you just aren't ready to do the thing and enjoy the heck out of it. Okay, let me see what's next, because we're getting real close on time here. Next week, big chapter, faith, visualization, and belief in the attainment of desire. Now, what was it? Anybody has said what Barnes did? So look, he visualized already being Edison's partner. In the excerpt, you'll notice he was in the state of I am, not I hope or I wish. Regardless of what was going on around him, his burning desire had him create a visual image of himself in real time, already in business with Edison. Now, the magic of visualization, and what I'm going to help you with, or help you develop through the next piece of this show, is the DNA of manifestation. That is my quote, that it is visualization that does the same thing that a planted seed in the ground does. It attracts everything and anything to it to break ground and sprout. It's the same with ideas. They are spiritual seeds. They are thought energy. Only human beings, through repetition of visualization, bringing yourself into the place, standing in the future, in the present. Not an easy thing to understand, but you don't visualize yourself standing on stage. You're on stage looking out at the audience. So that is what Barnes did every day. Why is that important? Because what we think the most frequently is has a certain feeling, and that's cellular vibration, because mind is an activity. It's not brain, and it's not an organ. That is how we communicate with the universe what to send us. So when you visualize great things, your vibration goes up, there's a spring in your step, and the universe says, okay, Leslie, sending it along. But it's a process. So you have to do it for 2 to 3 months minimum. And look, he went 5 years. So visualization, it's the key to everything. Once you know how to visualize and you understand that the vibration you set your cells at are the direct communication with God and the universe, and I know it's a little confusing, right? But we'll get to it more. I just want you to understand that visualization, your ability to picture yourself, what is the goal? What do you want? Do you want to stand in front of people, and 10,000 people, and share how you serve and give to people the things that you know that will change their lives? Then you picture yourself doing it in your best dress or your tuxedo or your suit. Just make sure there's only one wrinkle at the bottom of each pant leg, gentlemen, because that's a requirement for platform speaking. All right. Well, we're going a little bit over, but I know that you will bear with me. So here we go. I am going to ask you to sit back for just a minute, relax in your chair, and I am going to show you something beautiful to look at, but really closing your eyes is the best. We're going to do a visualization. This is going to begin to develop your muscle of imagination. And the sharper your imagination gets, the higher the vibration and the sooner the manifestation. All right, so I want to see if I can get this thing going. I had trouble with this before. This isn't where I want to do this. Oh, maybe it's right here. Let's see if it starts moving. Yeah, here we go. It's gonna work. Ready? Relax. Look at these beautiful things and listen to my voice. This is a guided visualization that weaves together desire, service, and persistence into a peaceful, empowering experience. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if that feels right, and let's begin. This is the garden within. Take a deep breath through your nose and slowly exhale out of your mouth. Let your shoulders soften and your jaw unclench. Feel your body gently settling into a few minutes of stillness. Now imagine yourself walking through a lush, serene garden. The air is rich with the scent of jasmine and earth after rain. This place feels familiar, like the landscape of your deepest self. As you walk, you notice 3 distinct paths winding through the garden, each one lined with vibrant symbols. The first path glows with warm embers. It represents desire. Step onto it slowly. See your deepest longings blooming along the sides. Your dreams, ambitions, the things that spark your soul. Notice how desire isn't grasping. It's energy, motion, fuel. Feel its warmth in your chest. Allow it to light up your vision without fear or urgency. You are safe to want to dream. Now move to the second path where soft lanterns glow. This is the path of service. You feel a gentle breeze brushing your skin as if the world is whispering your name. Notice how giving doesn't drain you, it lifts you. Along this path, visualize your actions weaving into the lives of others like golden threads. Simple and profound. See how your presence ripples outward, nourishing everyone it touches. Here, desire becomes devotion. And now step onto the third path, where the stones beneath your feet feel solid and grounding. This is persistence. The trees arch overhead like protectors, symbols of time and endurance. With each step, feel the rhythm of your resilience. This path reminds you that you don't need to rush. You only need to return again and again to the garden of effort, even when it's quiet or slow. Pause now in the center of the garden where these three paths converge. Feel the balance, the fire of your desire, the light of your service, and the strength of your persistence. All are guiding you, harmonizing within you. Take a deep breath and let it all settle in. When you're ready, open your eyes, carry this garden with you, and remember, you're walking the paths every day, and they're growing with you. And I'm back, and we're a little bit over. So I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this today. This is one of the most wonderful lessons that there are. And the visualization was designed to secure and stick these concepts in your conscious mind. Come back to this. Listen to it again. Read the chapter on desire. Go back and read the introduction or watch the last week's video, which was our first week. And next week we'll be back with fate. Faith is the only known antidote to fear. Thank you, my friends. I'm so thrilled that you've been here. Have a phenomenal 4th of July and weekend. And there is one thing I meant to show you, which I forgot to do, but I'm doing it now. Monday, we will have Mind Over Matter with my lovely guest, Elizabeth Boroquez. We're going to look into the basics of self-hypnosis and how we can understand our mind to bring our dreams to fruition more rapidly because of the deep visualization. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.